We set off from Bishkek around noon, and at first it is mostly fields, but very quickly we start to see some of the livestock and the police. The police are everywhere, and yeah, the cows just randomly wander around. There's plenty of graffiti on the way, and more fields, golden fields. We see a lot of tractors, but we get stopped by the police, so the tractors actually overtake us later. We wait for the driver for about 15 minutes. He comes back to get money to give a bribe to the police, and then we drive off again. Back on the road, more fields. The police again, we literally see them every 20 minutes. And we start to see the outline of the mountains beyond the fields. The road isn't always broken into lanes, and some cars are carrying rather strange things that are not always secured, but our driver overtakes them all the same. The mountains start to have a white capping on them. We start to see lovely snow, and the mountains are on both sides, on the left and on the right. We start to see people selling gasoline as we approach the border with Kazakhstan. The road from Bishkek to the east of the country actually goes right next to the border of Kazakhstan. Here is the border point. At the moment it's difficult to get in if you don't have a Kazakh passport. Other passengers argue with the driver about politics and history and the role of women in society in the background. So our driver tells us an interesting story about how that land became part of Kazakhstan. All of those mountains is all part of Kazakhstan. Apparently it used to be part of Kyrgyzstan, but there was a bet between the two peoples on whether or not the Kazakhs would be able to find 20 identical horses. Well, they did, and now that land is part of Kazakhstan. I don't know if it's true, but it's a good story. There you can see the fence and the lookout posts. The driver tells us that if a person tries to climb over that fence, you get shot on sight. Pretty grim. Some cars by the side of the road selling goods. At this time of the year they're selling buckthorn. And now we are not just driving between the mountain ranges, we are driving towards mountains. And it's the best feeling in the world. And the mountains are getting closer and closer by the minute. As we drive through the little towns and villages, it's quite common to see people just walk out onto the road. The houses are pretty cute, usually bungalows. Most of them are wooden. Many of them have huge stacks of hay, and there's wandering cows here and there. There's another pair just walking into the road. There aren't really any zebra crossings or traffic lights. More police. They stopped a car. Unlucky. And every village has one of these cute signs. This is more for town, not a settlement. So everything is bigger, there's more of everything, there's shops, and the buildings are 2-story or 3-story. And if you see any monuments on the way, they are more likely than not of horses, or they have a horse in the composition. That's another cute sign. And we start to see more and more goats and sheep and cows, and very soon we start seeing horses as well. Oh, there's a horse right there. So little trucks like this, they carry horses just standing in the back. More mountains. The bus stops are really cute. There's another one. I wish we could stop by each one so I could take a proper picture, but we'll be late. And you can buy corn by the side of the road. I don't know how much it is, the driver actually gave it to us as a gift. But he's holding a 200 som note, that's about €2, and he's waiting for change. It's not sweet corn, it's super juicy, it's very difficult to bite into it without it splattering all over the car. we're actually driving into the mountain range, so we start to see hills and just stray horses. Why not? Imagine coming across one of those in the night. Even scarier than the police. And the locals use white stones to lay out signs, but mostly it's browns. Surprisingly, there's one for the Kyrgyz TV station. And yeah, I can't describe the feeling of coming into the mountains proper. We see more stellas, more 4x4s, and eagles. There's actually a lot of monuments on the way, and these little walls to protect the road from landslides. And there's quite a lot of those little walls, so I'm guessing there's quite a lot of landslides. And the road just weaves in and out. It snakes and it turns, and the serpentine is very exciting. We didn't see any police in this part of the road, so if you want to speed up and try out the corners, you probably would be able to. And then the mountains get more craggy, and then smooth out again. Then craggy again. The railroad, it snakes right next to the motorway, but the train would take 4 extra hours to make the same distance as the car. The little yachts sell goods at this time of the year. Again, it will be a buckthorn, and the camera didn't show it very well, but these mountains are actually multicolored. And they go on and on and on. Unfortunately, it's all Kazakhstan. And then quite unexpectedly, there's a flag of Kyrgyzstan. That smoke is a little factory making tarmac for the road, because there's a lot of road being resurfaced. And now we're coming into the first big settlement on the western side of the Issyk-Kul lake, Rybachi, and of course there's more police. This is the main junction of Rybachi. From here the road split to the south and to the north of the Issyk-Kul lake, and we stop here. The driver goes on to another town, so we have to get a different car. We hitchhike, and a little minibus stops and starts to collect people. It's full and we're ready to go. We drive out of Rybachi, and the good road starts to go very, very bad. So the story is that the last president kept promising to resurface this road for decades, and from the way I heard it, it was one of the biggest reasons why he was dethroned. Now the new president has taken on the job of doing the road. It's a slow process, but it's moving on, as you can see. People are saying that by next year the road should be done. But for now, it's onto the dirt truck. This is why a 4x4 would be preferable for driving around Kyrgyzstan. There's a little Muslim cemetery, very pretty, with the half moons. We pass a lot of these, and more so when we get to the Issyk-Kul. And we continue to shamelessly overtake just about everyone. And to the dirt road, so the trucks kick up a lot of dust. And now we see a lot of horses, they're almost everywhere. And they come rest right next to the road. That is a spring, a natural spring of water. It gushes out of the earth all year round. The flow never lessens. wild stock, sheep this time. Oh yeah, and we do see a lot of men on horseback throughout the trip for the whole 2 hours. It is now 2:30 in the afternoon. We are approaching our destination, the village of Ottyk. You can see the blue line there at the horizon. That is the Issyk-Kul lake, the second largest mountain lake in the world, after the Titicaca in Peru. And like I said, the horses are in the roadworks. And there's a stray cow. There's the sign for Ottyk. We are here. We switch a car again. My friend's brother picks us up. We drive into the village, and there's a little barricade. It's late afternoon, so the cows are actually coming home by themselves. They are off to their owners' houses to be milked. Cute houses, and there's the cows and the donkeys just waiting for their owners. It's a charming little village.